Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about the 2024 United States Senate races and how incumbent and even some newcomer Democrats in critical swing states are performing very strongly, and in any typical Senate election year, they would be crushing the competition, but they are not because of two states, which we will get to briefly in a second in some time in this video. But this video specifically about these battleground states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, and some more, where we have Democratic candidates just absolutely crushing the competition. They're not even close, which is huge. You know, time, money, resources, all of that has to go into these races. And when you've got Democrats having these races on lock, like, these are not races that have gotten much attention, and we don't even need to really worry about them at all. I mean, Democrats almost guaranteed, at least in those 5 states. So, you know, this new poll from the state of Michigan really made me make this video, because it just occurred to me, you know, how, especially these incumbent Democrats, how locked down they have on these races. Now, Elissa Slotkin, the Democratic nominee, is not an incumbent. This is an open seat. This is Debbie Stabenow's seat. She is retiring. But we see Elissa Slotkin, who's a U.S. representative, you know, pretty little known. She hasn't been in the House that long. She's definitely not like a congressional legend or anything. But she has a 10-point lead in this poll over Mike Rogers, who is Trump endorsed. He's the Republican. And this is in a Republican Commission poll. That's big. I mean, if this is a poll that that the Rogers campaign is gonna show his donors to say, you know, it's so close, I could win the seat, give me more money. That's what a Republican commissioned poll is supposed to do for Mike Rogers. Same thing goes for Democratic commissioned polls. So to see Elissa Slotkin up by 10 in a Republican commissioned poll, I mean, it's just incredible for these Senate Democrats. So, I mean, you've got Wisconsin, as I outlined before. You've got Wisconsin, which voted for, I'll bring this up, which voted for Ron Johnson, the Republican senator, 2 years ago by a point, and a state that Joe Biden only won by 0.6% in 2020. You've got Wisconsin looking incredibly good for the Democrat Tammy Baldwin. I mean, you know, this is a battleground state, always a battleground state. Yet, look at this polling. 7, 8, 9, 7, 8. She has led every single poll by a lot. Plus 11 in this poll. Plus 12 in this poll from SoCal. I mean, these Senate Democrats, a lot of the races are not even close at all. So Wisconsin, obvious, a lockdown for Democrats, as I just outlined before. Michigan looks like a lock for Democrats. This state only voted for Biden by 2.8, so it does lean Democratic, right? It is a leaning Democratic state. In the last Senate race, Gary Peters won, the other senator. They have 2 Democratic senators, by 1.7%. When you look at some polling data from the state of Michigan, now this new poll is really something, the plus 10, but it was looking a little close before, plus 3, plus 3, plus 1, plus 8, plus 5. But the point being, Elissa Slotkin has led every single poll, and Mike Rogers, in my opinion, is not the type of candidate who just outperforms suddenly. He's a very boring, standard, typical politician candidate, and those types of candidates never overperform polling. Then you've got Pennsylvania, of course, such a critical battleground on the presidential level. 19 electoral votes, both Trump and Harris probably need it for their path to victory. But Pennsylvania looks incredibly strong for the Democratic Senator Bob Casey. I mean, Pennsylvania, and it looked good 2 years ago for John Fetterman, the newcomer. He beat Dr. Oz by almost 5 points, way overperforming Biden's performance of 1.2% in the 2020 election. But Bob Casey is looking like he's even going to outperform John Fetterman, who we couldn't believe had such a great performance. But in the 2 latest polls, yep, he's up by 4, but just look at all the polls before that. Plus 8, by 5, by 8, by 12, 14 in the New York Times Siena College poll. 14% over the Republican nominee, Dave McCormick. So Pennsylvania looks incredibly strong. You've got Nevada, which just 2 years ago in the last Senate election, it was incredibly close. It was the closest Senate election in the entire country. Catherine Cortez Masto pulled out a huge upset, beat Adam Laxalt, the Republican, by 0.8% when you round. But now it looks locked into the Democratic column. Sam Brown, the Republican nominee, is a clearly weaker candidate than Adam Laxalt. Rosen is up by 9, by 11, by 4, by 3, by 18 in this Cook Political Report poll. 18%. So, obviously, by all metrics, Jackie Rosen is on track to win in Nevada. And then finally, you've got the state of Arizona and here, for whatever reason, you've got Kari Lake. You might remember her from 2022. She lost to a Democratic candidate who didn't even campaign, didn't even debate, didn't show her face in the campaign. And yes, Kari Lake lost to that Democrat, Katie Hobbs, who is now governor. But in the Senate race, for some reason, Kari Lake decided it was a good idea to run again. In the latest polls, up by 5. Ruben Gallego, the Democrat, up by 5, up by 9. In a Republican-sponsored poll, Gallego's up by 2. This is this Republican Senate Committee, National Republican Senate Committee, so we can kind of discount that. That's all for donors, but that shows an even race. But again, not a single poll shows Kari Lake ahead. So Arizona is deep in the Democrats' column, as well as New Mexico and Virginia. These are Democratic states. They're going to fall in their column. Now, it is heavily likely that Texas and Florida go to Ted Cruz and Rick Scott, respectively, the Republican incumbents there. So, point is, look at the map we started with. It's now 48 to 50. But this was the map we started with. Wisconsin. These are the competitive seats. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Virginia, New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada. These were all the battleground states that we hadn't characterized. And even, that's 9 toss-up seats. And even without Montana and Ohio, which we'll get to, so, 7 toss-up seats, just out of the ones that we're going to characterize right now. Out of the 7 seats, Democrats win, out of the 11 seats, Democrats win 9. Out of the 9 toss-up seats, because we're not counting Montana and Ohio right now, because those are pure toss-ups, and we'll get to them. We have 9 toss-up seats, and Democrats win 7 of them. They win in Wisconsin, they win in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Virginia, New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada. That's huge. Of the 7 of the 9, Democrats, those are the competitive seats. The Democrats have these ones on a lock. Now, that's not to say anything about Texas and Florida. Those could be flipped. And that's without Montana and Ohio. But of those 9 competitive seats that I just outlined right there, Democrats have 7 of them basically on lock, meaning they have a better than 90% chance of winning those seats, which is incredibly important. I mean, the fact of the matter is only 2 seats are even remotely competitive, to be completely honest. I would be absolutely shocked if Republicans can flip Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada, all the rest. I would be absolutely shocked. But still, even with that, Republicans are at a floor of 50 seats, Democrats are at 48, so it does come down to Montana and Ohio. And that's because this map is just so difficult for the Democratic Party this year. In 2022, it's supposed to be a red wave year, but when you look at the toss-up seats, they really weren't, looking that bad. It didn't look like a disaster for them, because you had, when you look at the toss-up seats, you had Arizona, which had I'll just go through them. Arizona, Nevada, and Georgia, which had Democratic incumbents. So, okay, they had to hold on to those, right? These battleground states, they had to hold on to those since they had Democratic incumbents. But then you look at 2 other states, Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, 2 other critical battleground states, and which are flippable, obviously, for the Democrats. And both of these states had Republican incumbents. So that means that Democrats had an opportunity to flip one or both of these states and actually gain a seat, and that's exactly what they did in Pennsylvania. Pat Toomey was the incumbent Republican. He was retiring. He was going out. So that opened the door for John Fetterman, the Democrat, to come in and flip the seat. That's how they expanded their majority from 50 to 51 seats in the 2022 elections. But now, just look at the 2024 map. Let's look at the battlegrounds. Again, I counted I always mix Michigan and Wisconsin up, since they have W-I and M-I. They look so similar. But you got Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, Montana, and Ohio. Those are probably or I'll add in Texas as well. Those are probably the 8 most critical battlegrounds in 2024. They're all somewhat competitive, right? Those 8 states that I just said. Now, of those 8, how many have Democratic incumbents? 7. All of these states, except Texas, has a Democratic incumbent. Yes, Montana and Ohio have Democratic incumbents. So here's the difference from 2022. While Democrats had opportunities, or I should say, while Democrats, they were afraid, there was a chance that Republicans could flip oust some Democratic incumbents like Warnock in Georgia, or Mark Kelly in Arizona, or Catherine Cortez Masto the most. In Nevada, at least Democrats had an opportunity to flip Republican seats, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, but now it's very unlikely that they do that. And all they have for competitive seats are Texas. That's really the only competitive one that they could flip is Texas. So you look at the battleground states, the 8 of them, Texas is the only one without a Democratic incumbent. So the point is, they have to keep all of these Democrats in power. And I mean all of them. Sorry, don't look at this map. I didn't mean anything by that. That's just another tab. But they have to keep all of these Democratic incumbents in place. And when I say all of them, I mean all of them. Because look, you have 51 to 49. So you might be saying, oh, they can spare one if they win the presidency. Because if the vice president, he cast the tie-breaking vote, he or she, but it's Tim Walz in this case for the Democrats, in a 50-50 Senate, the vice president cast the tie-breaking vote. So if Democrats win 50 seats, but they have the vice presidency, then they cast a tie-breaking vote. So they can spare one, right, if they win the presidency? No, because of West Virginia. West Virginia, I didn't even put as a battleground, even though it has a Democratic incumbent, because you got Joe Manchin there, and he is not running for re-election. That is an automatic flip in West Virginia for the Republicans. So Republicans are basically at a floor of 50 seats, and Democrats have no room for error. So at least for Democrats, they have all of these typically battleground states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada. At least they have those down on lock. That is extremely good for them. And, that puts them very close to 50 seats. But they have Jon Tester in Montana. He's the incumbent Democrat. And Sherrod Brown in Ohio. Now, let me show you why this is so crazy. Montana voted for Trump by 16 points in the last election. Ohio by 8. So these are heavily Republican states, especially Montana. I mean, 16 points is insane. And it's on a presidential ballot. So it really doesn't look good for Jon Tester. I doubt Jon Tester could possibly hang on. It just doesn't make sense on the presidential ballot. Sherrod Brown, I do think wins. I think Sherrod Brown wins by a point or two. But again, at least for Democrats, they are doing great in these traditionally battleground states. But now, their Senate Democrats are looking just locked in. I mean, these seats are looking heavily in their favor. So they have way more battleground states where they have Democratic incumbents. But at least they're looking good in those battleground states. But the typical battleground states, Montana and Ohio, that is what they have to worry about right now, because these are Republican states. Both of these senators face upward re-elections. Now, when you look at Ohio real quick, Sherrod Brown leads every poll. I do think that Sherrod Brown does win. Even in a Republican-sponsored poll, he leads by 6. But Montana does not look very good. Montana, Jon Tester has only led in one of the last 5 polls, and in the others, Tim Shea is up by 6, 2, 5, 6, 6. So, Montana, I think, flips Republican. Sherrod Brown hangs on. So, Republicans do get majority, but I mean, it could be a lot worse right now if these races, if they didn't have such strong Democratic candidates across these battleground races. I mean, we could have definitely, if we had different candidates in these races, we could have definitely seen a scenario where Republicans say, or win, let's say, 54 seats. I mean, technically, we could, or 55. Technically, we could have seen them get 57 in any normal election. 57, which would be insane if it was a very Republican-favored year. With Joe Biden on the ballot, honestly, they could have won 57 seats, to be completely honest. But the Senate Democrats are very strong. And this also means something more when it comes to the presidential race, because, you know what, I'm not even going to go into it right now. But what I was going to say was how, on the ballot, whichever party wins the state on the presidential level, they almost always vote for the Senate candidate of that party, right, on the same ballot. In 2016 and 2020, there was only one occurrence where that didn't happen. That was in Maine. So the point I'm trying to make when it comes to the presidential race is that I am more confident that Democrats win in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Nevada, each of those states, on the Senate level, than Donald Trump does. Like, I currently have Donald Trump winning Wisconsin. Well, I'm more confident that Tammy Baldwin wins in Wisconsin, that Trump wins in Wisconsin. And considering the fact that a state will almost never vote for different parties, on the Senate level and the presidential level, that might indicate that Kamala Harris, in my estimation, will win the state of Wisconsin. But who knows? We'll see. So thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe down below. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers before Election Day, so if you could help me out with that, that would be great. So again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.